Thanks for downloading the Comedy of the Week from BBC Radio 4. If you'd like to find out more, visit bbc.co.uk/Radio 4. But first, please enjoy this week's comedy.
Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners in this country and around the world, and to welcome to the programme 4 talented, exciting, clever, original performers who are going to show off their dexterity with words and literature and knowledge as they try and speak on a subject that I give them, and they try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And they are, seated on my left, Marcus Brigstocke and Sue Perkins, and seated on my right, Sheila Hancock and Paul Merton. Will you please welcome all 4 of them? Beside me sits Sarah Sharp, who's going to help me keep the score. She's going to blow a whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And this particular edition of Just a Minute is coming from the Radio Theatre in the heart of Broadcasting House in the centre of London, W1. And we begin the show this week with Sue Perkins. Who better? Sue, would you try and talk on this subject? How I describe myself to an alien. 60 seconds starting now.
Well, it all depends on the mode of communication. If I'm on the phone, I'd say I'm tall, slim, long, blonde hair, enormous hooters and incredibly easy to please. In real life, I'd say spectacles on my home planet mean that I am the queen of all I survey, and hope I got away with it. I'm a faint believer in extraterrestrial life, although I've not prepared a welcome speech, seeing as there are far more people suitable to meet and greet when it comes to E.T. and his ilk. However, I have seen the Roswell alien, not up close and personal, but it has a distinct resemblance to my late grandmother, who was grey round the gills with an enormous and pendulous goiter.
Marcus, challenge.
Yes, a repetition of enormous.
You had enormous before.
Yes, the first was hooters, and the second a goiter.
So, well, listen, Marcus. So Marcus Brigstocke has got a correct challenge. He gets a point for that. He takes over the subject, and he has 17 seconds available to tell us something about how I describe myself to an alien, starting now.
The first thing I would want to make absolutely clear to an alien is that I am allergic to being probed. This having been a theme of alien visits over the years, various simpletons from planet Earth have been taken into the mothership and had things inserted to them in a terribly uncomfortable sounding
Sue,
place.
challenge.
I was in a reverie then.
Why
It was
did you
almost
press
a
your
sort of
button?
panicked reflex at the idea of being taken to the mothership and having things inserted. I thought it was hesitation, but I think it...
No, darling, it wasn't.
No, I know.
But what happens, Marcus, is you have an incorrect challenge, and you have another point, and you have 1 second available now.
Ready?
Yes. How I describe myself to an alien, starting now.
GSOH, non-smoker.
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point. On this occasion, it was Marcus Brigstocke, and he's the only one to have scored any points at all in that round. And Marcus, actually, the next subject has been created for you to start, so you're going to carry on. And the subject is hobnobbing. 60 seconds, starting now.
Well, hobnobbing is not to be confused with hobbit nobbing, which is, of course, illegal in New Zealand. But hobnobbing over here is a form of chatter used by the aristocracy as they talk to each other about the sort of things they find important, like sending their money away, and when it comes back, it's bigger. They use the same approach with their children, of course. When the elite meet each other, they also like to discuss how much money they have.
Oh, yes, Sue challenge.
Repetition of money.
There was too much money there.
Yes, of course.
Right, sir.
Yes.
Sue, a correct challenge. And 33 seconds are still available. You tell us something about hobnobbing, starting now.
Hobnobbing is used to describe socialising with biscuits, which I've done on many occasions when bored and lonely. Oh, the ribald jests I've had with a bourbon. I can't tell you, sitting there on lonely, miserable days as I pick out something from a packet that's possibly sandwiched, a custard cream, perhaps, and eulogising and waxing lyrical on themes that occur to me in the spur of the moment. The conversation is one-sided. That is no matter to me, for I find that I can talk pretty much endlessly to any kind of confection you could possibly wish to imagine. A Romany cream. Thankfully,
Paul challenge.
Repetition of cream.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, custard cream.
Yes.
So, Paul, you've cleverly got him with 1 second to go on. The show is so unfair. After all that hard work of Sue's, she's lost it. And
That's my
she
life.
hasn't lost it, she lost the subject. And Paul's got it. 1 second, Paul. Hobnobbing, starting now.
Prince Charles said to me...
Paul was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. He's now in second place behind Marcus Brigstocke. Sheila Hancock, we would like you to begin the next round. A vast, interesting subject, the avant-garde. Will you tell us something about the avant-garde in this game, starting now?
The avant-garde actually means the vanguard of any kind of art or music. It's a strange choice, really, because garde gives the impression that it's something that is to be protected. But in fact, the avant-garde opens doors, changes the world. Authors like Beckett, Genet, artists like Picasso, who now is considered one of the establishment, was in fact one of the avant-garde.
Paul challenge.
Unfortunately, repetition of one of.
In one of those, yes, right. So, Paul, a correct challenge. 32 seconds. You tell us something about the avant-garde, starting now.
In many ways, I think perhaps that Sheila was saying is the avant-garde can influence the mainstream, and after a number of... What happened then? What happened then?
Sheila Hancock, challenge you.
I wasn't saying that at all.
Was you? Well, I was trying to put some flesh on it, you know.
So your challenge is?
Deviation.
Yes. So, Sheila, another correct challenge, a point to you, of course. The avant-garde, and there are 25 seconds starting now.
Haydn in his time was considered very avant-garde. Now John Gage.
Marcus challenge.
Hiding is considered avant-garde.
He was in his
It's a
time.
game. It's a
In
simple
his
game.
time, he was incredibly revolutionary.
I'm so sorry. You're talking about a person. I thought you meant
Haydn.
hiding.
No.
Not Haydn. What, and his double act part on a seat?
But what happens, Sheila, is you get another point for an incorrect challenge. So, you keep the subject. 20 seconds are still available. The avant-garde starting now.
4:33 was what he wrote, which was silence. People sat there, and now perhaps that will become the norm. In film, there was Bunel and Cocteau. And in writing...
Marcus.
Well, I wouldn't normally do repetition on a word like in, but it was repetition of that.
It
Yes,
was.
it was.
He's
It was a
remembering the last time
heavy,
we played it.
emphasised,
Yes.
dragged out,
Yes.
in.
That's why I noticed it.
Yes. Avant-garde is with you, Marcus. 2 seconds available, starting now.
When art is rubbish, it's usually...
So Marcus Brigstocke was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. He's increased his lead. He's 1 ahead of Sheila Hancock, and he's 2 ahead of Paul Merton, and 4 ahead of Sue Perkins. If you're interested in the scores.
Well, they're not important, Nicholas, but it's lovely to hear them.
Right. Paul, would you begin the next round? My love of the absurd. It suits you very well with your surreal thoughts on occasions, but talk on that subject in 60 seconds if you can, starting now.
I managed to indulge my love of the absurd. I'm currently directing a BB programme, and...
Oh, that was a classic just a minute. Oh, you knew you couldn't repeat B and you left it out
I left
to
it at
C.
Anyway, I was being absurd.
You were, but within the... What was your challenge, Sue?
Repetition of B?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yep.
Yes. it wasn't absurd enough to gain the point. So, Sue Perkins, you have the subject, My Love of the Absurd, 54 seconds starting now.
I'm a fan of absurdist drama. Authors like Simpson, Ionesco. The idea you could have a fairly staid set of dramatic principles and suddenly in the middle of the action a rhinoceros would appear or a hole manifest itself into the ground. It's an extraordinary idea, absurdism.
Marcus challenge.
Yeah, repetition of idea.
Yes, there were two ideas there. So, Marcus, you've got another point. You have 36 seconds. You have My Love of the Absurd starting now.
My love of the absurd. Well, I can tell you that she hates it when I call her that. But, nonetheless, my wife is an interesting woman and occasionally absurd when she tells me off for pointless. I'm running out of words.
Sue challenge.
He's hesitating.
Yes, we call that hesitation. Sue, you got in with 23 seconds on this subject. My Love of the Absurd starting now.
Physical comedy is often predicated on the absurd. A man, woman walking across the street suddenly slips on a banana skin. Funnier, too, if it happens to be the pontiff or an established member of the aristocracy. It's that juxtaposition of two different scenarios. The high and mighty meeting something calamitous and yet incredibly banal. I'm a massive advocate of the idea you can fuse these...
So, Sue Perkins, with her command of language and words, kept going until the whistle went, gained that extra point. She's moved forward into second place alongside Sheila Hancock. And Sue, we would like you to begin the next round. And the subject, I don't know whether this is your scene or not, but it is the Aztecs.
Oh, yeah, that's my scene.
Is it?
Yeah. It
Tell
was
us
massive
something.
in Croydon in the 1980s.
Tell us something about the Aztecs in this game. 60 seconds starting now.
The Aztecs were an esoteric tribe in central Mexico.
Was there a hesitation there?
There was an
There was,
there,
did you
yes.
hear that?
I heard it, definitely.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Someone who's normally so fluent. You did actually put an in your
I
first
did
sentence.
indeed.
Yes, and,
I did.
And Paul, you got in with 56 seconds on the Aztecs starting now.
Montezuma, one of the finest Jewish tailors in Shepherd's Bush, was looking out of his window one day and suddenly saw the Aztecs come towards him. They had lost, they'd set out for Mexico, but had gone via Peru and ended up somewhere near Fulham. It was outrageous. The Aztecs turned to him and said, "We invented chocolate, and yet Bourneville came along and paid us slave wages." That might be libelous. I'm not sure if it happened at all. It might not have done. And Mars, they were equally as bad. Roundtrees, don't get me going on them. What happened then?
Sue challenge.
Deviation. He said he wasn't quite sure whether it happened or not. I think, under rules, just a minute, it's unlikely.
It was metaphysical, metaphorical.
We never-
So what is your challenge?
Deviation from the subject.
The whole thing was deviation. So I don't know what to do, really. I think what we'll do is, because technically I think you're correct, I'll give you a bonus point for the benefit of the doubt. And, Paul, because we loved what you were doing...
Yes, there might not be much more of it.
And having gone into the surreal, you're
Yes.
entitled to remain in the surreal.
OK.
And you have 35 seconds starting now.
They were very big on pyramids. 15
Sheila Hancock challenge.
Don't think they were.
Aztecs pyramids, yeah.
No, Aztecs weren't pyramids.
the Egyptians?
That's the Egyptians.
I've never seen an advert for Aztec chocolate bar where this bloke walks up a pyramid. I know that's not really historical research, but did they not have pyramids, the Aztecs?
Yes.
No.
They did have pyramids.
They did. They absolutely did. Built, they think, before the pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah.
The Aztecs predated them with
Yes.
their
Are you
triangular...
sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sheila, I wasn't there, but I'm as sure as I can be.
We need an
defer to
eyewitness.
Nicholas, who
We need
was.
an eyewitness.
No, I need
Nicholas,
to-
did the Aztecs build pyramids before the Mexicans? Did they build pyramids for the Mexicans?
Well, not when I was there.
No.
They were up on that hill, aren't they? Don't you have to go up miles up to find them, the Aztec ruins?
No, I think
There's
you're
somebody-
maybe thinking of Machu Picchu, which
You are
I think
Yes. Maybe they did have pyramids, whoever they
did.
were.
they did have pyramids.
I don't go around claiming people have pyramids if they did. I've got better things to do with my time.
Incidentally,
I think as
Bourneville
you were
was
in the realms of the surreal,
Yeah.
we will allow you to have again the benefit of the doubt and continue with the